Well, some blatant and jaw-dropping dishonesty from Team Kamala and the media. The Associated Press taking JD Vance completely out of context over comments the senator made about the tragic school shooting in Georgia that killed 4 people. The AP blasting out this bogus headline that reads, quote, JD Vance says school shootings are a fact of life, calls for better security. But here's what Vance actually said.
I don't like that this is a fact of life, but if you are a psycho and you want to make headlines, you realize that our schools are soft targets. And we have got to bolster security at our schools. We've got to bolster security so that if a psycho wants to walk through the front door and kill a bunch of children, they're not able to.
Thankfully, AP's outright dishonesty quickly got exposed. They fixed their headline, deleting the tweet and adding that Vance laments school shooting. But the damage was done. Kamala's campaign and Hillary Clinton sending out tweets that amplified the smear. And despite the overwhelming media bias against Republicans, the crew over at Morning Joe somehow thinks the press has a pro-Trump bias.
But there's a false equivalency going on in the coverage of this race, in that Donald Trump can say whatever crazy things he wants to say about, and always in that story, in the equivalency, the false equivalency by too many reporters and too many American newspapers. There's also, by the way, Kamala Harris changed her mind on fracking. They always throw in something like that in coverage of the story. It's ridiculous. We don't cover the man for how dangerous he is.
They're objective, and I put that word in quotes, their objectivity actually is not objective at all. It ends up playing to Donald Trump's advantage every day because they are so numbed by the hate speech that is spewed out of his mouth for the past 9 years.
Trump's at least speaking for himself, Greg. But I want to come to you first on this AP headline, because the Associated Press is a wire service. It's supposed to be objective, fact-based news. And they put this out there, and the damage was done.
Well, as you can see by Morning Joe, you don't have to be objective, and AP has adopted that. This is the Fine People hoax, the sequel. It's only different because it didn't have the luxury of old Twitter, where the lie is protected and amplified to a point where it's accepted as a fact and takes 4 to 6, 7 years to debunk. So you should be thankful to Musk for taking Twitter out into the woods and shooting it in the head and saving the First Amendment, because this thing would not be debunked. That's the only reason why it went down, was because people called it out. And then, of course, you know, I think what's her face? Kamala still has it up there. And then Hillary had to do something about it, but at least she's not killing anybody. But whenever I look at Morning Joe, I'm amazed how far their heads are up their asses, because they claim being unbiased is wrong, but they're saying it from a biased perspective. So if you defend bias from a position of bias, then it's immediately discounted. It's like taking out your eyeballs to see what color they are. It doesn't work. They're exactly like the people who argue against free speech by using free speech. If we listened to them and took their advice, we'd arrest them. So I worry about those little people in the mornings. You know, I worry about them. They are so mentally unwell that they can't even see what they're talking about. They need help.
So, Jesse, in terms of what Vance was offering, he was offering a solution, and yet the Associated Press still decided to lie about it.
I'm used to it, Katie. Constantly people taking me out of context, and I'm looking at you, Jessica. I mean, just yesterday I was talking about how if we became a healthier country, we wouldn't need to spend so much money on getting us healthier. We'd just be healthier. And she accused me of wanting to cut Medicare. It's not what I said. I've been stewing about it the whole night.
Kept you up?
It actually didn't keep me up. Nothing can keep me up. I sleep well. They don't sleep well. This is supposed to be a really happy crew. They have a lot of coffee in the morning. They got a great new candidate, Kamala Harris. They say the country's in great shape. Why aren't they happy about anything? And they're complaining about media bias on Morning Joe. That's crazy. Donald Trump has gotten 90% negative coverage. It's already been analyzed. She's gotten 90% positive coverage, and they're complaining about it. Now, you expect MSNBC to take you out of context. You don't expect the Associated Press. They're a wire service. You're right. They're supposed to play it straight. I went to Yahoo by accident yesterday, and you just see the front page. And, like, there's 6 pictures of Trump with like a Hitler mustache, and then there's like one thing about how Kamala Harris is best friends with Walz, and they're going to make stew on Saturday.
Wow.
It's so unfair, and I'm not complaining because we're just going to run right through it and win. And when I say we, I mean the American people. Because I'm not a Republican, I'm just an American.
And
Good
you are
for
objective,
you.
just like the Associated Press. Jessica, your name was invoked. Would you like to respond?
I would like to talk about how Jesse and Donald Trump want to cut Medicare, but that's
I just want to make us
Biden
healthy.
already cut Medicare?
okay.
He did.
Reducing Medicare spending would be the result of having a healthier country.
Get the country
You get
moving.
healthy
Michelle
first,
Obama
then
and
you
Jesse
spend
Waters
less.
teaming up to get us healthy.
Make America
arms.
healthy again.
Okay. So I hate when this happens because you lose the argument, you lose the discourse about how you feel about combating school shootings. And even if you took what he actually said, you could still then say JD Vance's solution is not what the American people want. The American people want universal background checks. The American people want stricter red flag laws. They want to raise the age at which you're able to buy a firearm. But instead, this is what's going on.
They want security, which Kamala doesn't.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
It's crazy. I even agree with everybody, and yet you still have to disagree.
No, I disagreed with everything you said
No, you didn't.
about
You were
what
nodding.
Americans want.
Oh, but that's what it polls
You left out the
as.
#1 thing, which
It's
is
not universal
hardening
background checks.
soft targets.
Universal
That's what
background
everybody
checks
wants.
is the #1
Yeah,
thing.
but the immediate softening in schools that are that open, they're not like city schools in one building. They're basically open targets. You need to have security. Kamala Harris said she didn't feel comfortable having armed people at school.
Well, a lot of people, including most of the folks who are actually teachers, don't think that it's their job to know how to use a firearm and that they shouldn't have to be running
That's
active
why you have
shooter drills with
somebody there,
firearms.
a veteran.
Of course, there are some. I'm trying to be reasonable, but that is over because I want to say something about
That's reasonable.
This cover. So the point that Barnacle was making, and I think it was really showcased yesterday. Trump did a press conference and these child care comments, which we discussed yesterday on the show, but the New York Times and the AP, for instance, ran headlines that were completely unreflective of what he had said. They had, in this term that's floating around now, is called sane washing it. So they came out with headlines that said, Donald Trump says, no, it's a real thing that's happening, where they looked at a stream of consciousness that he said, and they picked out 7 words that actually make sense, and they slammed them together.
You mean like what they did with Biden when they cleaned up the transcripts?
Just try to move the goalposts. This is what I'm saying, and this is what they were commenting on MSNBC. If you consider the fact that Kamala Harris had a reputation for being incompetent, word salads all the time, how many times do we hear about the passage of time, unburdened by what has been? That's because the media for Kamala Harris was quoting her directly or talking about, well, why isn't she cogent on this? But Donald Trump gets up there and he says, my child care solution is Marco Rubio, Ivanka, thank you. Child care isn't actually that expensive. Thank you. Tariffs. And suddenly he gave a normal press conference.
Okay.
And that's what people are talking about.
Okay, well, at least Donald Trump is getting up, Judge.
Yeah,
and speaking
the only
for
people
himself,
talking about that are the media blogs.
The reason why she has a
America
reputation for word salads is because that's what is on video of her speaking for herself, Judge, and she hasn't come out and done that for herself throughout this campaign.
That's the truth. And the Democrats have a problem with the truth. Remember, this is the group that brought us the Russia collusion for 4 years, of which there was none. And these people are now employed by MSNBC and CNN, and they gave each other Pulitzer Prizes. For them, truth is irrelevant. And so the only thing that matters is the agenda to make sure that their person gets into power. And, you know, this whole thing about the way they took this and they made it a headline. They make it a headline, but if you listen to the soundbite, it clearly isn't, you know, I really don't care about what's going on at the schools. And yet you have this woman, Julie Pace, who's the executive editor of Associated Press. If you listen to the soundbite, there is no way you can misinterpret what was said. No way. If she had any journalistic standards whatsoever, she would not have allowed that to pass. But it's no longer about about journalistic standards. It's about winning at any cost. And remember, Kamala is of the administration of cheap fakes and misinformation and disinformation and government oversight. And so, you know, for them, it's like we have to decide what the truth is. And I just want to say one thing about Joe Scarborough and MSNBC. This is the guy who 1 month ago said that Joe Biden was on top of his game. Quote, he's the best Biden ever, as good as it gets. And this is a quote, F you if you call Biden old. If you don't think those people are so sunk into making sure that Kamala gets elected and they don't care about the truth, it's irrelevant.
Okay, well, we care about the truth. Had Kamala let them in, and now dangerous Venezuelan gang members are spreading like wildfire across America.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.